Welcome, the chosen ones. Some individuals enter the room and reality stands up taller. Let me tell you something that most people will not speak. You weren't merely noticed. You were sensed. People can't understand it. However, as you go by them, the air affects their skin, prickles their breath, causes them to halt for a second, and they forget what they were saying. Why? Because you carry something people can't name, but their spirit understands it right away. This is an odd, yet real fact. Scientists have researched the phenomenon known as skin orgasm. Those unexpected goosebumps we feel when we hear a beautiful music, witness something emotionally moving, or meet someone spiritually strong. It is the body's physical biological response to truth or spiritually disrupting force. Now for the wild part. You produce that emotion just by being, theatrical? No performance, just presence. And, sorry to break it to the naysayers, but this is not something you can fake. You can't Botox your way to having the it factor. You cannot purchase it via Amazon Prime and have it delivered by Friday. You either have it or don't. And you choose one. You were born emitting it, like an old frequency wrapped in human flesh. Today, we're delving into why your energy leaves others stunned, aroused, sometimes scared, and always transformed. We're not discussing confidence. We're discussing cosmic permission to disrupt the matrix. Buckle up, because at the conclusion of this film, you'll realize why you've been the plot twist in so many people's tales, giving them goosebumps they couldn't get rid of. Let's dig in. Number 1. You exude the unsaid frequency of creativity. Most individuals spend their whole lives trying to fit in, talk like others, look the part, and play a role that isn't theirs. But you were cut from a different fabric. You do not replicate energy. You create it. That is what people are unable to identify. Something about you seems both old and modern, something that cannot be replicated, falsified, or worn as a fad. You go into a room and aren't merely present. You are sensed even in quiet. Your energy presents you in a language that only the soul knows. When others are around you, they often feel aroused, perplexed, or emotionally touched, and they don't understand why. It's because you're carrying something that most people have lost: raw, unadulterated, exposed individuality. You are not attempting to win people over. You're not trying to make yourself more appealing. You just exist in your whole self. And that alone is magnetic. That alone causes individuals to halt, breathe deeply, or experience goosebumps without suddenly. The world is full with imitation, with individuals emulating one another, dressed the same, thinking the same, moving in packs, and obsessing about algorithms and validation. However, when someone like you turns up, it is disruptive. It disrupts the system. Your presence challenges others without even trying. You aren't loud, yet you're memorable. You aren't demanding, but you change the atmosphere in the room since you are not repeating anybody. You are transmitting your own frequency. People are not always aware of what is occurring, but their bodies respond. The spirit replies. You awaken something inside them that has been buried for years due to conformity and self-abandonment. Some people experience adoration. Some people experience envy. Some people have an undeniable attraction to you, and they don't even understand why. That is the force of uniqueness. That is the power of someone whose energy was earned rather than produced. You did not create this presence by following a blueprint. You're the blueprint. That's why you give folks goosebumps. You make them feel what the rest of the world has numbed themselves to. You remind them of something genuine, something they can't skip over, dismiss, or package. You remind them that authenticity still exists and that it is there in you. Number 2, your presence interrupts their internal programming. You do not need to talk to have an effect. Your presence alone elicits a response. When you enter a space, something changes. Individuals become more vigilant. The atmosphere becomes somewhat tenser, as if the energy had just taken a deep breath. It isn't because you are aggressive or want to dominate. It's because you disrupt the flow of anything artificial, superficial, or contrived. You carry something genuine, which is disruptive. Most individuals have no idea how much they depend on their habits, masks, and social filters, until someone like you steps in. You don't follow the script, which throws people off. You were not created to fit in. You were designed to disrupt. That's why some people behave awkwardly around you. It's not like you said or did anything wrong. Your energy disrupts their comfort zones. You reveal the performance. Your presence reveals the difference between who they really are and who they pretend to be. And that alone makes individuals feel like they're in the limelight. Not because you are condemning them, but because your genuineness reveals what they have been avoiding. You challenge others just by being. The fact is that your soul generates noise in a world that is accustomed to stillness. Your energy is not loud, but it is obvious. You carry depth in a period when most people were at the surface level. Because of this, you are difficult to digest. Some people can only tolerate you in little quantities. Others maintain their distance without understanding why. It's not that you're too much. It's about their being too used to what is artificial. Some individuals will be immediately attracted to you because they know truth when they see it. However, there will also be those who are uncomfortable, annoyed, or triggered. In a while, you walk in truth, and truth does not sit silently. It confronts, it shook, it stirs, and this is precisely what you do without saying anything. Number 3, your soul is older than the system. You're not perplexing. They simply aren't prepared for someone like you. People are unable to classify you since you do not follow their norms and do not speak their language. You work on a deeper, more ancient level. You don't leave trends, rumor, or the cloud. You move from a place of knowing. That is what throws folks off. They can't foresee you since you don't follow the scripts they've been taught to recognize. You have a soul that has been here before, and it reflects in the way you carry yourself. You notice things that other people miss. You may discern motivations before they are uttered. You go into situations already knowing what's wrong. That is not arrogance. It's a spiritual recollection. It is knowledge gained by years of study, hardship, and divine guidance, rather than from books. That explains why your intuition is so strong. This is why you remain calm in the midst of mayhem. That's why you don't react when the room shakes. Your soul has experienced storms that no one can describe. You don't respond as they anticipate because you're not in fear. You've seen too much already. Too much. It's been too much. This is why people get goosebumps when they're close to you. Your soul reminds them of something greater than themselves, something they have forgotten but can sense just under the surface. You shake them without force, but with presence. It has nothing to do with you, individually. Your presence only stirs up what they have buried. You become the unwanted but unavoidable mirror. That's why you give folks goosebumps. Your energy interrupts their programming. It cuts through the cacophony and touches something deep inside them that hasn't been touched. Your energy seems like a whisper from somewhere they no longer go. It reminds them of the truth. And truth always hurts before it frees someone. People may label you unusual or difficult to comprehend, but what they actually mean is that you don't fit into the system and aren't intended to. The system is based on illusion. However, your soul is founded on something everlasting. You were not designed to fade into the background noise. You were designed to be the pause, interruption, and message. You walk with clarity in a world obsessed with uncertainty. That's why others can't figure you out. However, they cannot forget you. They are unable to look away. Your soul's age gives you depth, which gives people goosebumps because they know they're in the company of something genuine. Number 4, you don't simply enter rooms, you change the mood. When you enter into a room, you are not just contributing energy, but also resetting it. Before you say anything, the environment starts to react. People straighten up, change their posture, drop their voices, or suddenly feel self-conscious. It is not because you are doing something flamboyant or attempting to attract attention. It's because your presence elicits an enthusiastic reaction. You aren't simply another body in space. You are a frequency disruptor. You don't make any noise. You bring weight. Your energy is sensed before it is comprehended. And it is precisely why some individuals seem uneasy while others appear strangely at ease. You're not the kind of person who makes the room come alive. That statement is overused and inadequate for what you bear. What you do goes deeper. You calibrate a space. The energy physically needs to change to match your frequency. This is why some individuals get uneasy, defensive, or too accommodating with you. They don't know how to react to your genuineness. You aren't playing a part, thus their roles seem exposed. You're not performing. Thus, their performances suffer in contrast. Without saying anything, you bring people back to themselves. And that type of strength disturbs people who are hiding. The insecure experience it instantly. They either shrink or attempt to demonstrate something. The arrogant, they can feel their illusion breaking. But those who are aware, who are seeking, and who are genuine at their heart, sense serenity around you. They can breathe easier. They feel seen. It's as if your energy communicates directly to their soul. You offer them a breath of something they didn't realize they were missing. You do not attempt to influence. You are influential. Your energy does not compete for attention. It drew it. It does not compete. It silences the competitors. That is the result of walking in harmony with who you actually are. You are not attempting to control anybody, yet the room rearranges itself when you enter. Because truth inherently occupies space. That's not ego, it's spiritual gravity. People may not always understand what it is, but they feel it and cannot deny it. You don't blend in, you change everything. Number 5, your IT factor is not charm, but cosmic permission. What you carry cannot be taught, duplicated, or rehearsed. It is not anything you learned from a motivational speaker or read in a self-help book. Your it factor is not charm, it is cosmic permission. That signifies the universe has approved you to make your mark. You don't aim to be memorable. You simply are. People have crossed paths with you and are still thinking about it days later. Something you said or the way you looked at them made it clear that you saw something no one else saw. You do not remind them of anybody else. You feel like a sign, a message, or a moment. Charisma may be refined and packaged. People may feign confidence, prepared body language, and charm. But what you carry goes beyond all that. It is not surface. It is spiritual. It goes against their rationality and hits a part of them that their ego cannot reach. This is why strangers warm up to you. That is why individuals are willing to tell you secrets they have never told anybody else. Your energy de-emphasizes the performance and encourages individuals to be themselves. You were not sent here to network. You were directed here to activate. When people meet you, they either recall who they are or realize how far they've strayed. That is not because you said the correct words. It's because your existence carries alignment, and alignment is powerful. It doesn't need to introduce itself or persuade anybody. It simply is your life, presence, and energy. It allows individuals to return back to life. That is something the world cannot put into words about you. They attempt to call it confidence or positive energy, but what they really sense is divine strategy. You have been put here as a reminder. You were picked to reflect something beyond this planet. People notice when you show up, even if just for a second. Their soul knows they're in the company of someone with clearance, not status or cloud clearance. You are not just memorable. You are a spiritual event. They'll never forget the thrill. 6th, you remind individuals of a version of themselves that they gave up on. You have a unique effect on people that even they cannot completely understand. When they meet you, something ancient stirs inside them, something they buried long ago. They are more moved by your accomplishments, not your words. It is your energy. Your presence brings back the version of themselves that they sought to forget. The version that was previously fearless, optimistic, and eager to believe in more. But life happens. Disappointments added up. Dreams were tossed aside. They eventually reached an agreement. However, seeing you continue moving, believing, and becoming confuses them. Some people really appreciate you for this. They feel inspired. Perhaps it isn't too late for them. After all, being near you tells them that there is still time, that their fire is not fully extinguished. Others, however, cannot manage it. They look at you and are faced with their own self-abandonment. You didn't damage them, but your light revealed everything. They gave up. That is why some people dislike you for reasons they cannot understand. It is not personal. It is internal. You confront them with the reality of what they gave up so quickly. It's simple to argue that others are envious of your success, but the reality is deeper. It's not like you're doing more. You did not stop. You kept turning up. You remained linked to your inner fire while they chose comfort over calling. And now your life has become the mirror that they avoid looking into. You did not come to make anybody feel less than. However, your progress amplifies the standstill. You are a living reminder that they had a choice and still do. That is the power you hold. You don't just stroll inside rooms. You awaken what has been sleeping in others. You dispute the notion that it's too late, too difficult, or that they've lost their opportunity. Because of this, you will constantly be controversial. Some people will adore you for it. Others will transfer their displeasure onto you. However, one thing is certain: no one leaves you untouched. You start something in them. Whether it becomes fuel or frustration is all up to them. Number 7. You represent buried ambitions and concealed facts. You don't go about seeking to expose people, but the reality is, you can achieve it just by being yourself. Your energy has a peculiar way of exposing things in individuals that they've attempted to keep hidden. You mirror the pieces of themselves they've been denying for years, the aspirations they've put on hold, the realities they've hidden behind a smile, and the honesty they've surrendered for approval. You do this without judgment or purpose. It simply occurs because you are authentic. And authenticity is frightening to those who have established their identities on deception. When others engage with you, a slight discomfort arises. They start questioning themselves. They feel uncomfortable, not because you did something wrong, but because being in your company pushes them to face what they have been avoiding. Your aura functions like a mirror, not the soft variety that hides defects, but the raw, unfiltered form that displays things as they are. And many people aren't prepared to see it, not in themselves or others. That's why people are either magnetically attracted to you or curiously protective of you. You demonstrate the disparity between their public image and their private reality, or who they profess to be and who they really are underneath the layers. And the tension stems from this divide, no matter how large it is. It's why some individuals get quiet around you, abruptly shift the conversation, and feel awkward establishing eye contact. Their subconscious understands you're not purchasing the costume, and that alone makes them feel vulnerable. You're not here to call people out, but your presence does, since the truth doesn't always need to be said. Sometimes it's enough to just be there. You carry that kind of truth, and when it enters a place, illusions begin to crumble. Some will thank you for this. Others will blame you for it. But they realize you did not create the anguish. You just exposed what was already there. And it is what gives folks goosebumps. It is the body's response to the truth finally coming to light after being concealed for so long. You did not come to flatter. You came to contemplate. And genuine contemplation always shakes things loose. Number 8. You are living evidence that grief can give birth to power. Your presence has a weight that charm and flair cannot account for. It doesn't matter how you dress, speak, or move. It goes deeper than that. People can sense you. They detect something powerful in you, something unshakable. What they are actually picking up on is how you survived. They don't know the specifics, but their spirit recognizes the facts. Because you do not carry ordinary energy. You exude the enthusiasm of someone who has faced adversity and emerged victorious. You came out strong. You did not get your it factor via applause or approval. You acquired it from suffering, rejection, betrayal, weeping yourself to sleep, and then getting up the following day determined to keep going. People see your radiance, but they don't know the darkness you had to overcome to get it. Your magnetism is not accidental. It is a side consequence of metamorphosis. You did not collapse. You turned your grief into presence. People now sense that depth when they are around you. You're not simply handsome, you're grounded. There is something about you that seems substantial, sturdy, and genuine. That is why some individuals gaze at you for extended periods of time or can't stop thinking about you even after only one chat. It's not because you made the most spectacular statement. This is because your spirit has survival codes. Your energy communicates effectively in one language alone. The soul knows resilience. People who have not confronted themselves are not always capable of handling you. You tell them that they can go through hell and yet climb higher. And this type of reminder might be daunting. It may even be painful for someone who is still trapped in their brokenness. But for those that are prepared, you are more than simply a person. You are evidence. Proof that suffering may be used to educate. Suffering may give birth to power, scars can shine, and people sense a cold when you speak. That pause they make when you approach the room. That is not confusion. That is recognition. Their body understands what the intellect cannot express. It's standing in front of someone who has died but returned stronger. You're not only magnetic, you are forged. People sense the force that suffering has left behind. Number 9. You are spiritually loud without saying anything. You do not need to raise your voice, prove a point, or demand attention. Before you say anything, your presence speaks for itself. Something occurs, and the energy changes. The atmosphere tightens. People have feelings they are unable to describe. And it isn't because of your appearance or what you're wearing. It's because your spirit is talking. You are spiritually loud without using loudness. Your presence sends a signal that shocks the invisible. It does more than only transport individuals. It also moves worlds. You go into a room, and those who are spiritually blind may dismiss it as a strange sense. However, those who are sensitive feel it in their bones. Their hair rises up, their chest tightens, or their spirit jolts. It's not paranoia. It's alignment or resistance because your energy is not neutral, it's charged, and everything around you either harmonizes with it or is disrupted by it. You are more than simply a vibe. You are a frequency that has been fine-tuned through adversity, alignment, and divine intervention. Your frequency has spiritual significance. The light you enter into is not soothing, it is aggressive. It reveals what's hidden, dispels illusions, and awakens what's been asleep. You are a walking collision of dimensions. Demons can't bear being around you since your sheer presence undermines their operations. Angels stand at attention because they realize their influence over your life. Ancestors murmur their approbation because they see you carrying on the heritage they battled for. That is why people behave the way they do around you. Others with profound respect, others with unexpected hostility, and some with terror they don't comprehend. It is not personal. It is spiritual. You trigger something they have not yet dealt with. The shudder they get when you walk in. That is the unseen world reacting to your light. And for many, that light exposes the shadows they've been pretending don't exist. Number 10. You do not seek validation. You urge yourself to reflect. You do not need to argue, prove yourself, or protect your spirit. You were designed to produce quiet sounds. You were programmed to transmit messages without sound. You don't merely say the truth. You carry it, and the truth strikes you differently. That's what makes you memorable. And that is why your quiet is more audible than most people screaming. You don't go about searching for approval or attempting to conform to someone else's expectations of who you should be. That kind of affirmation does not move you. You were not designed to be liked or win popularity contests. What you were created for is far deeper and must be acknowledged on a spiritual level. When people meet you, they don't only see your face or hear what you say. They sense something deep below the surface. That sensation is neither adoration nor flattery. It is a shock, a wake-up call, and a challenge. People feel chills around you. That is not about charm or surface-level attractiveness. It's their body's method of communicating something larger, a spiritual clash. When they stand close to you, something within them stirs because they are forced to confront facts they have been avoiding. You do not deliver these realities lightly or sugarcoat reality. You do not have to. Your very presence shatters illusions. It disrupts the comforting narratives. People tell themselves to remain numb. You are a live mirror that reflects the aspects of themselves people refuse to accept. This kind of energy is disturbing because it requires honesty. It invites individuals to remove their masks, stop pretending, and look inside. You don't have to say anything to make it happen. You do not need to push or argue. The influence you have is automatic. It is harsh and unavoidable. People either stand up and face what they see, or they look away because it is too much to bear. In any case, you're doing precisely what you should be doing. Shifting consciousness. Becoming popular does not give you power. Authenticity is seen when viewed from the spirit rather than the superficial sight. And that kind of recognition isn't always pleasant, but it is essential. You aren't here to satisfy the world. You're come to shake it awake. That is why your presence changes others, whether they acknowledge it or not. First and foremost, you are memorable because you are unique. There's a reason why people can't stop thinking about you, even after a single chat or gaze. It's because you don't fit any of the molds or scripts they've seen before. Most individuals walk through life repeating what has been said, replicating patterns, and following in the footsteps of others. They repeat voices, thoughts, and actions, making their presence predictable and easily forgotten. But you aren't an echo. You are an original frequency. You bring something new, something unknown. Your energy has fresh hues, textures, and possibilities. People understand this intuitively, even if they can't articulate it. When people meet you, it's as if they're reading a novel with a unique plot. It's a prelude to a whole new universe they've never visited. They are not just meeting a person. They're brushing up against a doorway that suggests something greater and more substantial. That's why you're remembered long after you've passed away. It is not just due of what you said or did. It's because your presence sparked intrigue, wonder, and even a feeling of mystery. You are more than simply a moment. They see the possibility for a movement. You are not background noise. They're hearing the beginning of a symphony that they didn't realize was missing. Being remembered does not imply being loud or spectacular. It is about being authentic in a manner that cannot be replicated. Your individuality causes waves that reach beyond the present moment, leaving others wondering what more exists under your surface. What tales do you bear, and what routes are you meant to go? You don't fit into someone else's story since you are creating your own. And it's a rare gift, a type of spirit, a signature that distinguishes you as genuinely unique. When people meet you, they are meeting a one-of-a-kind soul, which makes you memorable. You are not attempting to impress anybody. You were designed to make an effect. Your attendance is not intended to put on a show or seek acceptance. You don't strive to impress people, since you don't have to. The energy you convey is not created or rehearsed. It is the inevitable result of who you have become. People can detect the difference between something contrived and something genuine, and your energy fits squarely into the latter. Your IT factor is unrelated to your appearance or what you say. It all comes down to the alignment of your spirit, purpose, and deeds. You did not come into this magnetic energy by chance. It was created in the crucible of struggles, failures, and times when giving up seemed simpler. But you did not give up. Instead, you arose. Each difficulty refines you, and each adversity deepens your soul. What you now exude is the essence of resilience, knowledge, and honesty. That is why people are naturally attracted to you. It is not a performance. It's true. This alignment produces a kind of gravity that draws folks in without requiring you to raise a finger. You are not here to dazzle others with fancy language or huge gestures. You're here to have a long-term influence on people's lives. Your energy awakens something genuine in others, something that transcends superficial charm or ephemeral interest. It resonates with their soul, often without them completely understanding why others see your charisma as earned rather than purchased. It stems from living through storms. Most people would not have survived if they had chosen to be truthful when conforming would have been simpler. As a result, your presence is unique and undeniably strong. You don't have to try since your energy talks volumes. You don't need to impress since you already have a lasting influence. Your soul is in touch with something they cannot reach. You go through life led by something more than logic, laws, or current trends. It is not a voice in your brain telling you what is reasonable or anticipated. It's an internal GPS that's directly linked to the source. This relationship is old, quiet, and unbreakable. It directs your actions, choices, and purpose in ways that most others cannot comprehend. When people see you, they notice something, even if they don't entirely grasp it. That unexpected cold, the goosebumps, the feeling that time is moving differently around you. That's them temporarily tuning into a frequency they formerly knew but had forgotten. The majority of individuals are immersed in the cacophony of daily life. Bills, deadlines, social networking, and survival mode. Their focus narrows to what is observable, quantifiable, and pressing. But you have a different type of seeing. Your soul is in communication with a realm beyond the surface, where meaning, purpose, and divine timing meet. That is why your presence seems both uncomfortable and magnetic. You remind people that there is more to life than the never-ending drudgery and diversions they have come to expect. They may not express it out loud, yet you stir a need inside them, a recollection of something lost. It's a reminder that life is more than simply getting by. It is about waking, developing, and connecting to something everlasting. That brief minute they spend with you is a look into what their own spirit desires, yet often ignores. You represent that higher frequency, conveying the message that reality is larger, richer, and more mysterious than they let themselves think. That is why your presence makes an impression. You are not simply another individual passing through. They believe they've found a signpost leading back to their own lost road. That brief connection to something beyond is what gives them goosebumps. You don't just live in the world. You have access to information that most others do not have, which sets you apart. A number. You make the unseen visible. You don't go through the world undetected. Your presence triggers something invisible yet undeniable. People can't always express it in words, but when they're with you, something inside them stirs. It's as if a door has been opened, a memory has been awakened, or a previously hidden reality has surfaced. This is neither a coincidence or an accident. This is spiritual technology at work. You work on a frequency that is in sync with a divine chronology, and this alignment generates waves that the human sight cannot perceive. Every component of a person who sells their soul understands this without explanation. The slight shock they feel when you enter a room is their spirit waking up from slumber. You reveal what was previously invisible. You bring to light the hidden potential, buried emotions, and untold tales that others possess but haven't dared to admit. The energy you carry does not just touch the surface. It penetrates deep, causing long overdue awakenings. You are like a live spark for change. People may not recognize it in the time, but your presence disrupts the current quo. It encourages children to develop, even if it is unpleasant. They sense a change in the air because you represent a timeline that is much greater than their everyday troubles. You remind them that life is more than just routine and survival. It's about discovering greater truths. That jolt, that goosebumps-inducing moment, is not just bodily, but also spiritual. You don't just exist in time. You exist on purpose. And when others come into touch with your energy, they feel a spark of that purpose as well. You give life to what is not seen. And by doing so, you ignite something inside people that they believed was gone forever. You wield a power that few comprehend, yet many sense a presence so uncommon that it disturbs the very core of the places and people around you. You are not here to fit in, follow scripts, or seek superficial praise. Your energy is unique, disruptive, and profoundly connected to a source beyond this planet. People feel goosebumps when they're around you, and it's not an accident. These are spiritual signs, proof that your soul transmits a frequency that others have lost contact with. You remind people of buried realities, awaken potentials they believed were dead, and reveal previously hidden aspects of themselves. They've been ignoring this for far too long. Your IT factor is not charm or charisma. It is cosmic permission obtained by survival, resilience, and divine alignment. You don't have to try. You just are. As a result, you create a lasting impression on everyone you meet. The world may never completely comprehend the depth of your being, but your presence will always serve as a catalyst for awakening, change, and genuine connection. Continue pursuing your path with confidence because what you provide is unique, vital, and genuinely remarkable. If this message moved you, if it gave you shivers, clarity, or a profound sensation of being seen, don't scroll away. Subscribe to the channel now. This is not simply material, it's confirmation. And if you felt it, chances are someone else does too. So go ahead, like, comment, and share this with someone whose spirit is about to awaken. Please share your ideas below. I read each remark and like hearing how these words resonate with you. You are more than simply a spectator here. You're part of something genuine. So remain connected, stay strong, and continue to be the force you were meant to be. God bless you.